We're talking today to Matt Kozar, formerly of Channel 2, our sister television station, and now the Director of Media Relations and what's your title at Mount Sinai?
Fancy title. Director of Media Relations and Public Affairs at Mount Sinai Health System.
But today we're talking about your new book, Angels on the Bridge. And it was, I finished it in an afternoon. I have to say it was great. So tell us about what inspired you to write Angels on the Bridge.
I started writing Angels on the Bridge 4 years ago when I was a reporter at WCBS. The book is inspired by my brother. He was killed by a drunk driver in 2010. He and his coworker were walking to their cars after work. They worked at the Tampa Marriott Hotel in Tampa, Florida. They were on the sidewalk, and a drunk driver jumped the curb and hit both of them. And I wanted to write something meaningful and impactful and inspirational and do something positive from such a negative experience. And after my brother died, whenever you lose someone, especially someone tragically, you wonder, where do they go? What's happening? And so I tried to answer some of those questions in this book. Why do bad things happen to good people? Where do your loved ones go when they die? And this is a piece of fiction, but it's from my imagination, and I hope it inspires people, especially people who lost loved ones.
You don't tackle the small questions, Matt.
Well, you know, I've always wanted to write fiction. My whole career has been in news.
Right.
And so before I even put pen to paper, I said, why am I writing a book? What is the theme? What's the whole purpose? And I thought about it long and hard, and I wanted to tackle some tough questions.
You certainly did. Angels on the Bridge begins in a bar. Tell us what happens then.
Book begins in a bar, and the book begins in a bar, and the main character in the story, James St. George, leaves work, closes up for the night, walks across a bridge when he's hit and killed by a car. And he immediately meets his spirit guide, this surfer-like teenager who helps cross him over to the other side. And on the other side, he meets his grandfather first, and then he meets God. And God gives him three choices because of how he died. He can stay in heaven and enjoy all this wonderful experiences that he's seeing. He can be reborn and have a new adventure and make up for some of those things he lost on because he died at the age of 23, so he never got to marry the love of his life or have children. Or God offers him sort of a third mysterious choice, and it's not exactly clear what that is, but God promises to reward him for undertaking that task. And ultimately, he finds out that it's to be a spirit guide for the man who killed him. So he has to go back and protect that person. It's about forgiveness and redemption, compassion and understanding.
Now, it doesn't seem like people really know what to say when you've lost somebody. They want to be comforting and all of that, but a lot of people will just say it was his time. So I guess it was James's time, and all of the people we've lost, it was their time. What about that? What do you think leads us to leave this sphere at a certain time?
Great question. I tried to answer that question in this book. I personally don't believe it ends just when you die. I believe that there's spiritual growth that's happening in life, and as you'll read in the book, even in death. So the soul continues on and is still evolving and growing. And some of the experiences we have in life are teaching us something that will have meaning later on. It's tough when someone dies tragically or dies young. We always say a life cut short. And it's hard to grapple with that. But when I lost my brother at the age of 23, I have to believe that there's a greater purpose for him beyond this life. And in terms of, to answer your first question, I think when someone loses someone, whether it's tragically or to an illness, the best thing you can do is just say, I'm sorry, I'm there for you. Tell me your story. And as a local news reporter, I was doing this on a daily basis where I would go up to people's homes, knock on their doors right after the worst day of their life and ask them to share their experiences. And some days I found that people opened up and they really just wanted to talk. And I was a sounding board for them. some days they didn't want to. And on the flip side of it, they cursed me out. And
Sure.
and I was okay with that.
Yeah.
But at least I was there to offer them one of the two options.
You talk a lot about, in the book, fulfilling your life's journey and learning a lesson. And some people don't learn the lessons they're supposed to in life. And I think you believe that. I got that from the book. That
I do. I believe we all have life lessons to learn, whether it's compassion or understanding or forgiveness or redemption. And sometimes it takes a few times for us to learn those things. But in all the experiences we have, we really have to look at the larger context and step back, be mindful of what's happening in our lives, not get angry or mad about it, and try to make it a teachable moment. And at the same time, also try to turn a positive into a negative.
Now, your character, James, what do you think his life's lesson was?
I believe that James's life lesson was forgiveness, that he struggled with dying early. And he was in a relationship with a character named Lily, and he never got to fulfill that because of how he died. There's anger, frustration, and you almost have to forgive in order to move forward. And that's easier said than done, because personally, I'm in that same spot right now. And I'm hopeful that I'll get to that point where I can forgive the man who killed my brother. I'm not there yet, but I want to be.
All right, that's well said. Another point that you made was that sometimes loss is the lesson.
Right. Right.
I don't know if there's more to be said on that.
No. I mean, you said it very succinctly. How do you move forward after losing someone tragically, or you yourself lost something? And it's hard to move forward, but you'll find inspiration in some of the strangest places. And I believe if you also look for the signs that surround you, the universe is sort of speaking to you, and you have to pay attention to those signs.
Do you feel a lot better since writing Angels on the Bridge?
Absolutely. This project was for sure therapeutic, in addition to wanting to tackle a lifelong goal of writing a book, and hopefully many more, because I really enjoyed the process of storytelling. My hope was also to inspire other people who have lost loved ones, including people who have lost loved ones tragically, to look at it slightly differently. And I personally believe that my brother's always with me, guiding me, and probably here right now during this interview, and that provides me some comfort. Just something to add, the book's cover was drawn by a local artist in Brooklyn.
That's really great. Tell me about that. There's a little bit of a tale behind that. A
backstory. My brother had a tattoo, which was taboo in our family. No one had tattoos. He had a big tattoo he was really proud of on his arm, and he had gotten it done at a tattoo shop in Brooklyn called Brooklyn Ink in Bay Ridge. Joseph Kinya was one of the co-owners, and so I asked Joseph if he would draw this cover purely based on his imagination of reading the book. I didn't tell him what to do. I just gave him the book. He drew this beautiful piece of cover art. So there's a connection to it. Yeah, I love it. I think he did such a great job. And the angel itself is not your typical cherub with wings. Right. It's this aura, mystical figure, and there's no color, there's no race, there's no gender to this particular figure. So I really appreciate how he drew it.
And there's a link of him talking about making the illustration. So we'll have to provide a link to that to let you guys see it. Well, is there any movement toward putting Angels on the Bridge on the big or little screen? Because as I was reading it, it's a perfect thing to do.
That would be fantastic. I would love to do that. Hopefully that's in the future. For now, I'm taking it day by day, and I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about the book.
Well, we appreciate you coming. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Pat.
And thanks for watching